Yeah, just start at the beginning and tell about how you got into veganism and when you started, and just go from there.
Yeah, no worries. So pretty much, I used to work out a lot. I used to work out very heavily. A lot of weightlifting and a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and boxing. So it got to the point where I was working out 5 days a week, and right after working out, I would go and I would do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I would do boxing. Um, the what caused the whole process of me entering into veganism was the working out, and I'll explain further as to why that happened. Later on, my body started changing because of the heavy lifting, the heavy stress. I was doing like compound lifts like squats, deadlifts, bench presses, and then I would also do a lot of intense activities with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I ended up developing scoliosis. You know what scoliosis is?
Yeah.
Like the spine starts bending in an S shape, and it was like intense. I couldn't walk, and I didn't really know how to fix that problem, how to get it fixed. But then I stumbled upon like the power of your mind, how you can utilize thoughts and you can talk to your body and move it in certain directions. So I was able to do that by using my mind. And the doctors told me that I have a lot of inflammation in my stomach and all that. So I'm like, okay, what's this inflammation of? And they told me it's because of meat and it's because of dairy. And I was drinking like a ton of milk and eating just a ton of meat. And they told me it's because of that. So I was like, okay, let me cut out all that. Later on, I ended up cutting all of it, and life was good in the beginning. And I think it's always good when it comes down to all vegans. In the beginning, it's beautiful. You know, they feel nice, they feel energized. Wow, I'm a spiritual being. Um, right after that, you start realizing some things like, okay, if it was that easy for me to reprogram my mind and my body to get it back into shape, who's doing the programming for the other people? Like, who's doing the programming for society? And then you realize, okay, it's the media. It's that and that and that. Um, Later on, when it came down to me entering the vegan diet, I started off slow, and it was all about health. It was all about getting my body back into shape, and I just wanted to feel clean. And I think there's this concept where our perception of good and bad is distorted. Like we think like, okay, fruits are good, or vegetables are good for you, and I think it's because we've grown up with that belief,
Mm.
when in reality we don't really know what's good and we don't really know what's bad. Like your videos, I've watched a video of yours the other day about good and bad, how it's all made up. There's
Yeah.
no such thing as good or bad. Moving on moving on with the veganism. um every I started in around July of last year. The first few months were great. I was eating avocados, fruits, vegetables, you name it, but I was taking a shit ton of supplements, zinc, biotin, B12, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this work. But in reality, you realize, okay, I'm taking all these supplements, but like deep down inside, it's not natural, but you still do it.
Yeah.
It's like this whole mental brainwash thing. Later on, throughout the process, I started um, I started sun gazing for long periods of time. So I told myself, you know what? Screw food. I can live off the sun.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? I started fasting every day for like 22 hours. I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't drink anything. And I just spend my time looking at the sun. And I believed that I am getting information from the sun. I still believe that the sun provides nutrients for the eyes that most people don't know about. But at the same time, I truly believe that I could live off light and I could live off no food. And I tell my parents that I'm like, yeah, no food for me.
What about the information? Did you get epiphanies or anything like that? Because I got that.
With sun gazing,
Yeah,
yes, I got epiphanies on a lot of things when it comes down to my everyday life.
yeah.
When it came down to dieting, nothing,
Yeah, sure.
nothing, nothing yet except towards the end, I started having like intense cravings.
Mm,
Um, sun sun gazing was good because I truly felt like it suppressed my appetite,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
I just didn't want to think about food. I also undertook days where I went 10 days. The longest I went was 15 days without food. I just lived off, just like water and herbal tea. Uh, Sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, no, no.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No worries.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I so I just lived off water and herbal teas, and I felt good about it. But later on in life, I realized why I felt good because of the ketones. My body was using, the excess fat as energy. When it came down to dieting, I later on towards the vegan diet, I started an elimination diet where I took out everything. I stopped eating fruit. I stopped eating vegetables. I only focused on rice. That's all I ate. But then little did I know that like this bowl of rice that I'm eating is equivalent to like a bowl of sugar because it just goes into the body. It's just sugar.
Yeah.
But every single time I'd have that bowl of rice, so I'd fast for 22 hours, nighttime comes, I'd eat the bowl of rice, and then I feel like shit. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go fast again tomorrow so I can feel better. And then the process repeats, and then I'm like, okay, why am I feeling like this? So I'm like, screw the rice. I'm not eating rice anymore. So I'm like, you know what? I'll live off broccoli and hummus. Everything else excluded. I still felt like shit because I was releasing gas. Broccoli, like, it just
Mm,
fucks with you. Later on, I went to sleep. I woke up. I had a dream. I was still sun gazing at that moment, and I'm like, okay, let me research this ketogenic diet. I wanted to know what this whole ketogenic diet is all about. And it talks about how you use fat as a form of energy instead of carbohydrates because back in the days they never used carbs. So this was all recent. This was all like a few weeks ago. I stumbled all into this. And then I started researching the Eskimos and what they did. And I realized, okay, like let's just step out. Let's step outside my ego. Let's step outside this whole vegan scenario and let's see what this whole ketogenic diet is all about. The first 3 days I tried keto on a vegan diet.
mhm.
So I just had avocados, pecans, walnuts, almonds, and all that. I was still hungry. I still wanted more. And even when I was vegan back in the days, I did an elimination diet with just almonds and pistachios, and I was still hungry. Like, I would eat a whole bag of almonds, a whole bag of pecans, and I still wouldn't be satisfied. And depression was another major thing where you just feel like the whole world is against you in a way. So pretty much it is true. You actually don't like humans. Like there's some humans where, you do like, but there's another part where you just think majority of humans are evil, like they're destroying the planet. Oh, you're eating meat, you're destroying the planet. But it's a cycle, like it's a cycle of life. Okay, back to the keto. So I lived off avocados, pecans, walnuts, and all that jazz. Still wasn't working, so I was like, you know what? Let me see let me see what the internet is saying, I go online and I see reports of McDonald's making the Mick vegan. So I'm like, okay. And then I see celebrities becoming vegan.
Yeah.
Like back in the days, I used to do a lot of research with like the media and see like who controls every single thing. And I realized that the celebrities are just, puppets. So I'm like, okay, these celebrities are going vegan. Like back in the days, I didn't know any celebrity that was vegan. So I was just like, okay, you know what? Like I'm an outsider. I'm cool, But these days, I'm just like, okay, the media is pushing it so much. There's something wrong. I see lab-grown meat is now being tested and it's being created. Okay, that shit's not natural. So, like, why are they doing this? They're trying to replicate meat. I was like, you know what? Some shit is really up. Like you have to listen to your body, like your body just tells you things. And especially when I was vegan, I would have intense cravings at night for fish and cheese. And I would fulfill those cravings. I tell myself like I can't, I just go downstairs, I'd cut up a few cheese slices and I just munch on them. I'd go to the grocery store, I'd buy bags of sardines and I'd eat it. And I tell myself like I have to listen to my body, mind-body connection. Like, your body knows best.
How often did you do this?
The sardines and, like, the cheese?
Yeah.
Probably, like, once a month.
Okay.
But it was, like, probably, like, twice a month. Twice a month, but it was the last few months.
Oh, the last few months, okay. The last 2-3 months, or what?
Yeah, the last 2-3 months, I would... Cheese was more regular.
Mm-hmm.
Sardines was like once
Right.
or twice. That's
Okay.
it. And the cravings would disappear right after.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Later on, where was I?
The sardines, cheese. What
Yeah, the
happened?
sardines. Oh, okay. That's done. Later on, I realized that that the media is pushing this whole vegan agenda,
Yeah.
and I go on YouTube to find other information on the other side. Like I realize about the carnivore diet, and I don't know if you know who Jordan Peterson is or Michaela Peterson.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Sarcasm?
No, I do. You mean because
Oh,
they
what's-
eat carnivore diet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that like Jordan Peterson cured his depression with the carnivore diet. And I was kind of suffering with depression and I was like, okay, you know what? This guy's a professor. He's a psychology professor. And his girl has an autoimmune disorder and she's curing this autoimmune disorder with meat. Maybe they know something. Maybe they know something I don't. So I got onto that. I went to the grocery store. I got beef, milk. Actually, no milk. Just eggs, free-range eggs, because they didn't have raw milk. Like, they don't have raw milk here. And I started, and instantaneously, you actually do feel better. Later on, that first day when I started eating meat again, it honestly felt like a relief. Like, what have I been doing for that past year with that wasted time? I took a walk in the park right after, and it was like this whole forest and everything, and I just thought to myself, like, back in the days, like our ancestors, they didn't just sit and talk to each other like, hey, Fred, let's go hunt some spinach. You know what I mean? They weren't like, oh, I'm craving broccoli right now, let's hunt broccoli. They were hunting animals. And it was just an eye-opener for me. I saw... Sorry, were you going to say something?
I was going to ask if you know that broccoli is man-made. It doesn't exist in nature anyway, so it wouldn't even be possible.
I learned that from you later on. I was
Right.
just like, what am I doing? Because I binge watched all your videos
Okay.
every single night for the past 3 days. I'm like, I gotta know everything he knows, you know? Like, there's some shit I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, man-made fruits, man-made vegetables. So I'm like, okay, what am I doing? Especially the bananas. And I saw how bananas in nature, you would have to go through every single seed.
Yeah.
You posted a photo in one of your videos, I remember. Through every single seed just to feel satisfied.
Right.
But it was 10 times easier for humans just to hunt an animal and just eat. There was also another YouTuber by like Daphne Reloaded.
Mm-hmm.
I watched all her videos as well. It was crazy. And majority videos were just an eye-opener when it comes down to every single thing. And I think they resonate with a lot of humans because that's the truth. Like, your body's like, okay, this makes sense, you know? Like, it's just the truth. Like, your body knows the truth. Let your body guide you. When it came down to it, my need for food right now is also decreasing. I feel less of a need to eat. I still eat, but at the same time, I have like a steak or I have some eggs, and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm done. I'm done for the day. I have enough to supply me for the day to go on doing whatever I want to do.
I'll ask you a question.
Tell me.
What do you think is the future of veganism? Where is it heading with this whole lab-grown meat and all of that?
To be honest with you, I actually think vegans will potentially start eating other humans because it's in our nature. And I think that's why you see all these videos. And I know it's like harsh and it's just like, whoa, you know, like eating other humans, but yeah, I mean, like, you need meat. The whole thing with predictive programming with TV shows like The Walking Dead and other zombie shows, these shows are backed up higher power. And when all of consciousness in the world as a whole views these shows, it somehow brings that virtual reality into existence. That's how, in a way, I see it.
Yeah.
Because I think the goal is, like, with the upcoming knowledge with AI technology and robots taking over, maybe the plan is to have humans extinct. Like, maybe that's the agenda of the depopulation. Like Agenda 21, you know, United Nations.
Right.
It's just crazy because it's... Sorry, were you going to say something?
Oh, no, you can go on. I have another question, but I can ask after.
Like, I was going to say, I think, and I truly believe that it's more of a mental illness than anything. Because your mind controls your body. Like, your mind can heal everything if you want it to. So, like, you can reprogram your mind to heal anything, like anything in your body. But the thing is that people are in this mindset that I want to hold on to this. I want to hold on to this veganism because I think it gives them a sense of worth or a sense of identity. And the ability to not look at the other side. And when I say look at the other side, I don't mean look at the other side by going on Google and typing in, oh, is red meat healthy? You know what I mean? By looking at the other side, I mean truly doing research. Because every single report online is written by humans that are no smarter than you. Like, they're just written by humans. Like, it's not like, oh my goodness, this has come from the divine.
They won't do it because that would mean that they will start questioning veganism, and vegans don't question it at all. They only want to read anything that says anything good about veganism. And once you start questioning it, you look into it and you quit veganism. That's always how it goes.
Or you could suffer, like, health consequences. Because with me, it didn't start till later on. Like, at first, it's always sunshine and flowers. You know, you feel good. You know, you're sun gazing. That feels good too. You're doing your yoga. You feel all, spiritual, monk-like. But later on, I honestly started having breathing problems. Like, I would wake up, I wouldn't be able to get up because my body was just like slammed I sleep on the floor. My body was just completely slammed. Um, your gums, they start bleeding. Like, I was brushing my teeth and I just like, I noticed an excess amount of blood. And I was like, okay, I'm deficient in something. I'm deficient in calcium. I'm deficient in something. I'm deficient in nutrients. It's because I'm eating frickin' broccoli, with hummus and all that jazz.
Did you have any vegan friends or anything like that? Any contacts?
No, not really. Majority of my friends are all meat eaters.
Right. That's okay. Loner.
Yeah. Yeah, I was. Yeah, it's weird. And without a doubt, there is that sense of you think you're better than other people. Without a doubt. Like, you think, oh, I am not killing animals. I'm better than you. You actually start to think that, and it's a destructive way of thinking because you become damaged inside, Like, your ego, you're giving so much power to your ego, not realizing that if our ancestors were here, they'd laugh at you.
Right. Is there anything you would like to say to any vegans who are watching?
Keep an open mind. Don't hold on to anything. Like, let go of everything. Like, let go of the idea. Let go. If you want to be vegan, but let go of the idea. And follow your body, because your body truly knows what it needs. Your body will guide you. If you get intense cravings for meat, ask yourself, why am I getting these cravings? What is the reason for these cravings? If you're getting intense cravings for cheese, any animal products, ask yourself, why am I getting it? Look into also how our ancestors lived in the past, because their bodies in the past are the same as our bodies right now. And I believe that back in the days they were more intuitive because there was less noise. Like, right now we're just blasted with noise and information. So our inner voice becomes clouded. But back in the days, it was just peace and quiet. They'd sit in the forest, they'd be laughing, they'd be having a good time in nature, wherever they are. They were more intuitive to what their body needed, what their mind required, and they followed that intuition. But right now, I don't think people are following intuition. They're following mainstream. Whatever is mainstream, that's what they're following, just so they can fit in. Because everyone just wants to fit in.
Any other health problems you had you maybe forgot to mention? Or anything else you want to add?
If you have, like, the thing about, like, when I was talking about scoliosis,
Yeah.
it was a devastating part of my life. And the main reason I'm talking about it is because if anyone is suffering from any issue or any health problem that you feel deep down inside can't be cured, it can be cured. use your mind, use positive thought to transform your life. Because I actually told myself every single day that my spine is healthy, my spine is in perfect alignment. And I did that every single day for around 2 years or a year, and I didn't miss a single day. And automatically your mind, your spiritual essence, if you'd like to call it, will attract certain situations and certain people to you that can help you get your problem fixed. Maybe one day you'll wake up and you'll be like, okay, I want to start this new diet, and this diet is the way you're going to fix yourself. Because I think people forget that, yeah, you're in a physical body, but you're a spiritual being.
Do you regret veganism?
I don't regret it because now I've been on both sides of the spectrum. Now I know what veganism is all about. I've tried it. And now I truly understand what our ancestors were all about. I think it's different for other people that have been in it for 10 years or like 20 years, and they are getting symptoms, but they're not asking questions. They're not talking to themselves. They're not asking themselves, okay, why am I feeling like this?
Right.
I was always, in a sense, like aware of my body, aware of what's going on. And I think that's why I picked it up right away. I don't want to say like 1 year is right away, because 1 year is kind of a long time, but at the end, I could really feel my health declining. It was hard for me to like stand up straight. I was just I was just exhausted. I was just exhausted all the time, and I had insomnia. Couldn't sleep. Like I would sleep for 2 hours and then 3 hours, but right now sleeping is not an issue. The first few days of a keto or like a carnivore diet, you will feel symptoms. You will feel exhausted because like your body is depleting all the carbohydrate storage, so it can like divert into using fat as a source of energy. And I felt that for the last week, but right now I feel nice, you know? Life is good. And I watched that video where you said that you truly feel high when you eat meat, and you feel like, I remember you saying, you feel like music is something from the heavens. And it is true.
Right.
And I asked a lot of my friends who eat, meat and who are carnivorous, and they experience the same thing. It's like a high. It's a high feeling. It's a joyful feeling. Other than that, your body's the only place where you can live. Just treat it with the utmost respect. That's pretty much the goal. Like your body is it. Your body goes down, you go down. It's done.
Yeah.
Look into saturated fats as well. Sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, I was just agreeing. Go on.
I was gonna say the whole dilemma with saturated fats and cholesterol. I was always told, cholesterol is bad for you and all that. 2 days ago, I cracked like 10 raw eggs and I just chugged them. I'm like, fuck this, And then, my parents come in and they're like, salmonella, oh my goodness, this is gonna happen. I'm like, yeah. When it comes down to saturated fats, your thoughts on like coconut oil and MCT oil?
About just eating them, using them as food?
Just like a teaspoon of MCT oil in the morning.
You can do it, but it's pretty much useless. You can use it as a macronutrient.
Yeah.
It works, but there's almost no other nutrients. So it's a
No other
waste, because you could also just eat animal fat, and then you get
Animal fat.
even better source of macronutrients, and you get tons of micronutrients. You get the fat-soluble vitamins. So I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, no worries. And I remember you saying like things Like when I asked you about green tea and like matcha green tea, all toxic,
Right. Yeah, it is.
even though like the Japanese swear by it and they live long lives and all that
They
jazz.
don't live that long lives, but that's only because of the raw fish and all of that. If they wouldn't drink the teas, they would live much longer. And supposedly that's the reason they get the most stomach cancer on Earth. It's because
Yeah,
of the tea.
I see, I see. Eye-opening. When I was fasting and doing the whole vegan thing, green tea was every single day. I would drink like 3 liters.
Oh, that's crazy.
It was crazy.
That's the caffeine. Uh,
It's
ask any
crazy.
vegan, they all get addicted to it.
Yeah. What about when it comes down to water? Because when you're vegan as well, you're chugging water like crazy.
Hmm. Was it really cold water?
It was like okay temperature, but usually it was cold.
Ah, because the last interview I did, the girl said that people who have iron deficiency
Yeah.
really like cold water, and she was also drinking tons of it. So, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I saw another one of your videos, and you were eating a cucumber for hydration.
I did that once, only in that video. I never do
So,
that.
what do you usually do for hydration?
I drink juice. I use some water right now when it's over 30 degrees Celsius
Y-
and you just sweat all the time. Just because financially it's a bit problematic for me right now. But
Yeah.
for the last year, I just juiced. That's all I did. I didn't drink any water at all. So I juiced cucumbers mostly with some oranges. But I don't eat the cucumbers whole. I don't want the fiber.
Yeah. Recently, like, I haven't gotten to the raw meat stage yet. Like, I'm doing raw eggs. I'm still cooking the meat, but at the same time, the goal is to move on to the raw T-bone, the raw beef, the raw steak, and it's heavily looked down upon in society if you eat
Yeah,
raw.
right.
They think it's crazy.
I know.
Like it's crazy. I don't know. I was just in complete shock. I don't. It was wild.
Most people are insane, and because you're sane, they see you as insane. That's how insane they actually are.
Especially things like raw eggs. Like it's just raw eggs,
Yeah,
and then they you're kaboom.
it's brainwashing.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, thanks for sharing the story, man.
Yeah, like if it can help someone, at least like one person, just so they can get an eye opener on something, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Because we're here for each other, at the end of the day.